time management a little bit, we can also sit down and make some suggestions on different strategies and how to approach studying in college, because we do recognize it is very different than high school. And when in doubt, we're always willing to connect a student to different resources on campus. We're not an office that if a student is asking us a question and we don't provide what they're looking for or don't have the answer, we're not just going to pass them off and hope that they land safely in the appropriate office. We're going to guide them, walk with them down the hall to the student financial services, pick up the phone, call the tutoring center, whatever it may be. We really want to be there to help support them. So in addition to some of this general advising support that academic support has, we also have a fee-based program that I'll turn over to Ksenia to talk about. Before I do that, I mentioned our dual advising model. One place that this is slightly different at times is students who come to Mercyhurst that don't declare a major. We call them exploratory majors. And so they're often assigned an academic counselor to serve as both their faculty advisor and their academic counselor, where we can help them explore their interests, skills, and abilities, as well as learn about all the different academic programs Mercyhurst has to offer. So I'm going to turn it over to Ksenia to talk about academic advantage.
All right, so Academic Advantage, as we mentioned, is our fee-based program that provides structured academic coaching for students who may need additional support or guidance outside of accommodations that Jeanette is going to mention here in a few minutes. So the student is going to, the student who participates in Academic Advantage, they are going to be paired with one of our professional academic counselors. And as Erica mentioned, this is going to be staff in the Office of Academic Support. And together, the student and the counselor will design a very personalized academic plan that's based on the student's strengths, their abilities, any educational needs that they might have. The student meets with their counselor once a week, and these are going to be 1-hour sessions. So there is a really great emphasis on consistent one-on-one support. Just for comparison, the average student, in the general student population might meet with academic support once or twice per semester, versus AAP students will meet with their counselor every single week. So they are regulars in our hallway. So, no two students are alike. So the support services are going to be tailored to the student, but just to give you an idea, some examples of the type of activities that we might work on during our sessions would be assessing current study habits and then exploring other learning strategies, because as we know, not all study strategies are equally effective. Some other things might be outlining goals for the semester. A big one is keeping track of all the upcoming assignments, exams, effective time management. So that would include building a weekly routine around classes, helping them structure their study time, and really just creating accountability to meet the goals that we set forth. Self-advocating in college and beyond is also a really big one that we focus on. The cost of AAP is going to be $1,420 per semester. This is for this current school year, and we anticipate it's going to be very similar next year as well. And then the enrollment process is very simple. Once a student has committed to enrolling at Mercyhurst, we just ask them to complete an online form, and then we follow up with additional guidance. And I will turn it over to Jeanette, I believe.
I hope so. Hi, folks. Again, my name is Jeanette Long. I'm going to talk a little bit about our Pathways to Academic Success for Students program. We call it the PASS program. If you haven't experienced it yet, college is basically alphabet soup. We have a cute acronym for everything. So our PASS program is run through our Learning Support Office. And it is essentially a pre-college program that's open to students with a diagnosed learning disability. This program allows students to move onto campus 3 weeks before school starts. So this year, I believe the PATH program starts August 1st and goes through August 18th. And during that time, students will be living in a residence hall. They'll be eating in the cafeteria. They'll be meeting other incoming freshmen. And they'll be taking a 3-credit course during this experience, which actually counts toward their graduation. So at the end of this 3-week class, you'll have 3 credits toward graduation before the first day of school has even started yet. One of the great benefits about that program is that it allows students to have a little bit of a smoother transition into their fall term. Whereas some of your classmates are going to be taking 5 classes, you're only going to be taking 4 because you got that one out of the way. For students who might struggle academically sometimes, that's a huge advantage to jump into your freshman year with a little bit, I don't want to say a relaxed schedule, but an easier to transition into schedule. This program last year was $1,100. We're still working on the final price for it, but predict that it will probably be about that much this summer as well. If this is something that you're interested in, we do have a whole page on the mercyhurst.edu website about it. It includes a little bit more information as well as a registration sheet. If you are planning on coming to Mercyhurst, you're confirmed, we would love to have you join us for this program this summer, which we are capping at only 15 students, so we can continue to have that personalized experience when we go on, the fun trips on Saturday, or when we start doing the academic seminars. So pass, it's good stuff. All right. Oh, you guys get to listen to me for a little bit longer. So one of the many jobs that I have at Mercyhurst is overseeing our learning differences and academic accommodations. So like it says in the first line here, Mercyhurst is committed to making reasonable accommodations for qualified students. If you currently have an IEP or a 504 plan, or you've ever received academic accommodations through your school, you may be eligible to receive those accommodations at the college level as well. We do ask that students who are looking into receiving these accommodations do fill out the academic accommodation request application, which is also conveniently located on the Mercyhurst website for you. That application is the first step. At Mercyhurst, we are committed to accommodations being an interactive process. So there's no wrong way to fill out the application. After it's completed and you've provided documentation, that's just the start of the conversation. Someone from our office or from our ADA coordinator, Susan, will reach out to you and talk about, why did you request these accommodations? How do you think they're going to help you at the college level? And oftentimes we end up finding that students under requested, that we have additional accommodations that we can provide based on an IEP or a letter from a qualified medical provider. So there's a kind of an explanation of what the documentation should include. This is not something that needs to be completed until you are a confirmed student. So until you have officially decided Mercyhurst is the school I'm going to. At that point, you can reach out to one of our offices and we'll give you more information about how to complete that application. Perfect, Holly. Some of the common accommodations that we have at Mercyhurst are going to be listed here. Our students do all of their accommodation requests through a fantastic software, incidentally also called AIM, which is a little confusing. But it keeps everything organized, and it makes it where students who may have some processing issues or may have some organization issues, they're not shuffling papers around to try to make sure that they're getting their accommodations. It's all under one place. So listed here are some of our most common accommodations. Testing accommodations, that's going to be testing in a quiet location, receiving extended time, either time and a half or 2 times on a test. Using a text-to-speech technology, so where a computer would read the text out loud to you for a test. We even have some students who use speech-to-text technology, so they can speak their answers on exams, for example. We also have really been building up our assistive technology these last couple years. In fact, it's exciting to be able to talk about one that isn't listed on here. We provide Kurzweil to students who qualify, which allows us to provide digital copies of your textbooks. So you can follow along reading the physical textbook, but you're also getting that additional auditory aspect that helps a lot of our students process better. We have innovated our note-taking technology to the point where qualifying students may now be eligible to use a software called Glean that creates high-quality recordings of your lectures. So you sit in class, record the lecture, and then you're not panicking about, am I writing down everything the professor is saying? You're able to go back later, listen to that, pause it, slow it down, and take notes from it. This was part of a grant that we just received and has already been huge with our students. And of course, there's some additional use of a laptop and calculator. We always say, and I might be Erica to it, we can usually get pretty creative in terms of our ability to offer accommodations. One of the nice things, not trying to sell Mercyhurst too hard, but one of the nice things about Mercyhurst is that we're a small enough university that we can really engage with you and make sure that if an accommodation isn't working, we can provide that support maybe through a different outlet for you. So if you have questions about accommodations, please feel free to send them into the chat or we can chat afterwards. And Peter, I think I'm turning it over to you.
Okay, sounds good. Good evening, everyone. My name is Peter Ostrander. I work in the Autism Initiative program. The program itself officially began in 2008, but Mercyhurst has been doing things behind the scenes so that we could successfully launch the AIM program in 2008. So we've been working with individuals on the spectrum for a long time. What's great is our program is now serving 70 students enrolled in the bachelor's degree level. We do have some graduate students as well that we will admit. It's a very competitive program and requires an additional application on top of your Mercyhurst application. So once you're enrolled in Mercyhurst, once you've got that acceptance letter, you can enroll and file the paperwork with us should you be an individual that identifies as being on the spectrum. We do have 7 full-time staff members, and we do closely work with Residence Life as well as many other campus entities. I joke sometimes with colleagues that we're kind of the house MD of AIM or of Mercyhurst when it involves working with autism. There are 5 domains in the AIM program that we work weekly with the students on. So of course, academics comes first. We want your student to be successful. So we build a structure around them so that they know where to go to access these materials, whether it be a tutor, whether it be working with learning differences, maybe it's even a assisted communication or telling a student where somewhere is on the campus and actually physically going with them to that place. We do that. The independent domain is involved because the AIM program has dedicated housing to it. So your student will live in AIM housing, and we will be discussing with them how to have a clean room, a working apartment, but also some of those other pieces, like making sure that they're eating, making sure that they can get their prescriptions, resolving interpersonal conflicts, whether that be with a roommate, someone else in AIM, or someone else at the university. We will talk through that with them. Social, again, we also do some activities with the AIM students so that, for instance, Sunday we're taking them to Peak and Peak to go tubing as kind of a community building exercise. But we do a lot of education on the social sphere of things. Emotional, We have a conversation each week with the students about how they are managing their stress. Do they need to go talk to somebody in the counseling center at Mercyhurst for more individualized work? Should they work with one of our partners in Erie, Pennsylvania, and also work with them to make sure that they're doing well and being the best they can be at college? Vocational is where I step in. The vocational piece, I teach a class to the AIME students called Career Path. It starts when they're a freshman, it rolls all the way to senior year, and we will discuss everything from exploring your major all the way to how do I write this letter of intent for grad school, or how do I write this cover letter for an employer. We do all of that. We help link the students up with the assist of career development downstairs with employers in the area. And then we also have employers that email myself, such as Integrate, Wells Fargo, Bender Consulting. We have quite a few corporate relationships that we're setting up so that there's a dedicated system for individuals in our program to get out there and do work experiences. There is a conversion rate of 70% from intern to full-time employee. And we really want to make sure that your student is in that 70% conversion rate. So yes, the enhanced services, we are an added fee cost, but we do, as I said, the weekly assessment meetings with a individual AIM coordinator. There's a peer mentoring program that we work with the athletic teams with to get students in and around campus and integrated into the campus environment. We fully tried to make it that Hearst is home for your student. As I said, specialized housing as well as social programming, but we also offer something called Peers, and it is a research-based program to teach social skills to individuals on the autism spectrum. And that can cover anything from dating to working with a supervisor to just asking a friend if they want to go grab a pizza. We cover that. And then there's also, as I said, my career development curriculum. Right now, I'm working with all of the students on creating an effective LinkedIn account, and I'm already in the process of transitioning some students into some employers that are interested in them. So that's me. Guess I might be handing it off to Nathan.
Yes, I think if we want to, Nathan, if you want to introduce yourself, and then we'll have Doug maybe tell a little bit about your background and what you utilize in our programs.
Hello, my name is Nathan Wooten. I'm an intelligence studies major from Coriopolis, Pennsylvania. I actually just recently became an ambassador for Mercyhurst, so like it's a way for me on the AIM program and being an ambassador at the same time. So it's a more way for me to introduce AIM better to other students, prospective students on the autism spectrum. So I'm a sophomore, so I've had 2 years in the AIM program. So last year I had a very fun experience last year. Even with COVID, we were able to go on some trips to like Letchworth State Park. We also went snow tubing again last year at Holiday Valley though, this time, but I really enjoyed it and stuff. And this year I've started to become more like, I've been a lot more independent and stuff. Like last year I started to become more independent with the AIM program and stuff. They've helped me a lot being more independent to college life, and especially with my academics. And also now I've also had I made lots of friends too in the AIM program, and with the women's hockey team, with being a mentor, I became more friends with them, and I've also been more friends with other people around Mercyhurst too.
Thanks, Nathan. Doug, do you want to introduce yourself?
Yes, of course. Hi, my name is Douglas Welsh from Rochester, New York. Originally, I am a double major in intelligence studies and international relations. So, I can represent the LD program. I've been in it for, going on 4 years now. Really, it's given me the tools to my success here at Mercyhurst, and it's one of the primary reasons I picked Mercyhurst. So, along with the Intel program, it's great LD functions. I have used resources from, being pardon me, using Kurzweil is a great resource. I go see my academic advisor every other 2 weeks. I usually use it mostly for, organization methods and, getting sure I can get my stuff in on time. And overall, I can only say it's a great program. It's really given me, keys to success, and then also taught me, key important lessons about advocating for myself with my professors, or what I feel like I need in that current situation. And really through that, I've been able to, be vice president of student government here and president of honors.
That's amazing. Nina, do we have any questions that need answered before we kind of pose some questions to our little panelists here?
We do. We have some good ones in the chat that I wanted to hold so that everyone can hear the answers. First, we had Kathleen, who asked, what percentage of the student body are enrolled in AAP? And is there a limit to the number of students eligible for that program? And she was also wondering about tutoring and writing center resources. And I'm glad that she brought that up, because those are excellent at Mercyhurst too.
Who would like to tackle that one?
I can talk in terms of AAP and the population. We try really hard to make sure that each academic counselor has a reasonable caseload so that we can give that specialized attention to each student. We currently have just under around 30 students. I would say the makeup of the 30 students currently are mostly freshmen and sophomores, but we certainly have seniors too. Doug mentioned he only meets every other week, and that's kind of like early on in the career, we try to, do a little bit more hand holding, spoon feeding, do things alongside the student, and then slowly kind of gradually move back and let the student take the lead on a lot of things. And that's where our ultimate goal is kind of where Doug has gone, and can, just still be able to have that person who can help him get organized when he needs to, but also be a little bit of a cheerleader. So, but we also recognize not every student is different. We don't have a cap currently for the program. It really just depends again on how many students enroll to make sure that we have the right counselor to student ratio. We've had up close to 60 participants at one time. So just to give a ballpark.
And I'm happy to talk about the writing center and the tutoring center. So the tutoring center is one of the areas I oversee. So I'm always looking for an excuse to talk about how incredible it is. The writing center and tutoring center are free, right? Part of tuition, but free services for any student at Mercyhurst. The tutoring center offers one-on-one tutoring in all reach subjects and in most other subjects. If we don't have a tutor, we usually try to find one. And the writing center also offers those one-on-one writing consultations with students who have succeeded in their comp classes and who enjoy writing essays like crazy people. So they are excellent resources and conveniently located right next to my office. So if you come to Mercyhurst, you'll see me there.
A good neighborhood. Teresa was wondering if accommodations need to be requested prior to the student arriving at Mercyhurst or even before the semester starts, and if they can be dynamically updated over the course of the semester. This is a great question.
Yeah, that's it. The questions that we want. Yes, these are the great ones. So as far as accommodations go, really the earlier you can get that documentation and that application in after a student has confirmed, the better. So that way they're going into their first day of class with their accommodations set and ready to go. We can inform their professor on the first day of class that the student may have accommodations that they're planning on using. That being said, we have students who the last month of school are coming to us and turning in their application for accommodations. Students are absolutely able to adjust those accommodations as need be. We never expect that a student is going to use all of them. We really let the student tell us what they need to use, when they need to use them. So essentially, yes, they're as dynamic as they need to be. And the only reason that we've typically ever denied a student accommodations is that maybe the documentation that's turned in isn't quite adequate. And then we'll get right back to you and say, here's exactly what we need from you to be able to provide this for you.
Thanks, Jeanette. We have a few questions about the AIM program that I'm sure that Peter can assist with. How many applications are submitted per year for the AIM program, and what would prevent a student from being accepted into the AIM program even though they were admitted to Mercyhurst?
So applications per year, that is a very difficult question because it varies from year to year. I don't have an exact figure on that other than I am sure it's pretty much over 200 applicants as of this time, but we are continuing to build out and expand the program. We just admitted our largest freshman cohort last semester and 20 students got in. So we actually grew from 50 students to 70 students. What would prevent a student from getting into AIM after they were accepted to Mercyhurst? That is the first step of the process, is you get accepted to Mercyhurst. But when you apply to AIM, we start to have a conversation with you, your student, and we try to take a very holistic approach and looking at the services AIM can provide, but also looking at, for the students with IEPs that have transition programs in them, seeing where we can help in that transition program process. If it is something that we as a team look at, and we look at the IEP and we talk to the student and we talk with all of the other support structures and we feel that they would benefit, sure, we'll admit them to the program. If we feel that this may not be a good fit, we will have that conversation. We won't necessarily toss out an application, but we want to make sure that the student knows what the expectations are. Because if the student is not following through with directives from us, then that kind of limits us in what we can do. So some of this is to understand just where everybody's at, and based off of that, we go from there.
Peter, would it be safe to say too, a lot of times you'll almost even look at the ACE domain model? And if a student is struggling overwhelmingly with many of the different, ACE domains, that might be something that they can kind of gauge. Is that safe to say?
That is something that we do. Our mission is in AIM is to make sure that every student that interacts with us will not fail. We will go above and beyond to try and make this experience work, because we know when you're going from high school to college, high school is very structured. College, well, this is the first time you could be away from home. This is the first time that on a school night, you could be up till 2 a.m. talking to a friend online, and you don't have to get up until 10 o'clock for your class at 12. We try and make sure that there is some structure so that when the student transitions into us, we can do it successfully. That being said, AIM is a competitive program. So a lot of applications, and right now the system is open. We are going to be starting to look at applications in a few months. And then we're going to start having conversations on who our first cohort for the fall will be. We also have something called Create. Create applications are open right now. That is a program that if you are a junior or a senior in high school and you want to figure out if college is good for you, it is a intensive 1-month program in July. And we run it as kind of halfway as a academic camp where the student will have class every day with a university professor who works with us. They will also have very structured social activities as well as community experiences. And we, through the month of July, get to know the student. We get to know what the strengths are and the weaknesses are. And then at the end of Create, when we send them all back home, we complete a report, a comprehensive report on the various domains in AIM that we're looking for, as well as interpretations on what this could mean for future success. If you're in the Create program, it can help transition you into Mercyhurst if you've already applied and accepted. That is an option. But it does add that extra little bit of you get to try college without buying it in total. We want you to come to Mercyhurst, but we want you to be successful above all things.
Peter, can you add your contact information into the chat for anyone who has further or more individualized questions about their program, about their child, or about their status with the submitted application?
Oops.
Thank you.
Yeah, let me undo that. That just went to you.
All right. Do students receive any assistance figuring out what accommodations they need?
That's a great question. Typically, when we have students come in, we're building off of the academic accommodations that they received at the high school level. In some cases, we work with students who maybe they didn't get diagnosed in high school and they're on that journey toward diagnosis now. They're working with a doctor for the first time. We can absolutely engage with students to help them figure out what accommodations will be best for them. Like I said, we find that students undersell sometimes, so we really do want to be interactive and make sure that we're offering them everything that they could use.
Just to echo too what Jeanette said earlier about us being creative and always willing to go back to the drawing board. One of the students I work with in the Academic Advantage program, early on between conversations with her and her mom, she had Kurzweil as one of her testing accommodations. She'd go into the testing room, take her test, was finished within the hour, not utilizing the extended time she also had, and wasn't performing well. And so between lots of conversations, we went back and forth and trying to figure out what was really going on. It wasn't for lack of studying. She was spending a lot of hours studying. We were helping her study. She was working with the tutor. And what we discovered is that having a live reader instead of the Kurzweil reading the exams was a better fit for her. So we were able to work with Learning Differences to see about making some adjustments to the accommodations the student was receiving.
Thanks, Erica. Well, while we get ready to wrap up, I do want to throw a question out to Nathan and to Doug, just because they are students on the front lines of what it is to be a student at Mercyhurst. So Nathan, I'm going to ask you first, could you tell us or tell the students and parents that are looking at Mercyhurst what your best advice is coming into Mercyhurst?
Well, coming into Mercyhurst, I would say try and see the campus for what it is and stuff, like see it in person, because I saw it before I confirmed. I actually went to like a hockey game, and went to some of the events they had that I could go to, and I enjoyed a lot and wanted to come to Mercyhurst and stuff.
Awesome. And Doug, why did you choose Mercyhurst?
Yeah, I talked about this a bit earlier. So I chose Mercyhurst primarily because of the great LD program we have here, and then also Intel. And I was able to really work with my major and then later both my majors and really work with the professors, and they're extremely accommodating. If they had a question, they could easily ask someone over at LD if there was like about something something was up. But it was really nice because I could work with both of them. I can get my double time. I could get my laptop and take out notes where maybe that wasn't appropriate at other points with other students. So they're overall very collaborative environment. And then that's kind of the main reason why I came here, because there was really great merger between administration and academics.
Awesome. Thank you very much. Well, I know that there's a lot of awesome questions. Mercyhurst would love to see you on campus. If you have not come to visit Mercyhurst, we highly recommend getting on our visit page. If you go to mercyhurst.edu/visit, we have so many different options coming up. And the best thing you can do is come visit campus, see the beauty of it. If you are interested in a certain major, we'll hook you up with that. I know that Erica's group is wonderful about meeting with students as well during a visit if need be. But at this point, we really, really have enjoyed having you here with us tonight. And we would like to no more than to look to the future and working with you guys and providing your student and the student the best experience possible. So please feel free to reach out to any of us. Thank you so much, and Carpe Diem.